Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today we're talking Game of Thrones. All week long, I am participating with Almost Sideways, David Gerlach, and Zach Pope in Game of Thrones Week, where we are going to be sharing various lists of our favorite and least favorite things within the Game of Thrones universe, all leading up to the Season 7 finale on Sunday. So to kick things off, here are my top 5 favorite Game of Thrones characters. So these 5 characters maybe aren't the best written, maybe aren't the most universally loved, though I am kind of basic, so this list will probably not be all that uncommon, but they were picked based on just who I like the most, who I just want to see on the screen the most. So without further ado, let's just jump right in with number 5. Ever since I first met Brienne of Tarth, I have just loved her. I love that she is noble, I love that she is just pure and good, and I love that she's badass. If you watch my channel regularly, you'll know I like strong female characters quite a bit, as you might notice on this list itself. And Brienne is a strong female character. All she wants is to be a knight, and she exemplifies everything that a knight should exemplify. And the reason Brienne is down at number 5 on this list is just because she's so underutilized on the show. She doesn't get a whole lot to do. She doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. So it's hard to kind of bump her up over these other characters who have a lot more going on for their character development. But I do love Brienne. That scene with Arya this season was fantastic. Obviously, all of the connections she made with Jaime throughout season 3. And every time she fights, I'm fully on board. So at number 4, I have Lady Olenna Tyrell. Olenna also didn't get a ton of screen time. I think she did get more than Brienne overall. But talk about using every second of screen time you have to steal the spotlight. There's a ton of great writing in the Game of Thrones universe. There are a lot of great characters. There are a lot of smart, funny characters, but nobody has one-liners like Olenna Tyrell has. And she got the best of pretty much everyone she ever verbally sparred with. So Brienne always gets the best of her opponents with a sword, and Lady Olenna always gets the best of hers with that lash of a tongue. But her scenes with Tyrion Lannister were fantastic. I loved every time she just dragged Cersei for filth. I really enjoyed her and the High Sparrow going back and forth. She was just amazing. Right down to her unfortunate last scene where she went out like a total G. So I love Lady Olenna, and I'm gonna miss her so much. I already do miss her and her amazing lines and fun wit. At number 3, we have Jon Snow. So what's not to love about Jon Snow? Does he always make the smartest or best decisions? No, not really. Does he always plan things out as well as he should? Not so much. But he is a pure, wonderful, good heart. He's one of the only purely good people in all of the 7 kingdoms. Just like his father, which is, in and of itself, such a great quality for him. Plus, he too is a fantastic fighter, and even with his shortcomings, even with his missteps, he's able to inspire and gain the trust, gain the excitement, and gain the following of all of these Northerners who, we see how they like to follow. It's just hard not to love Jon Snow. He's just a good person, and in a realm that is full of horrible people, this is like a beacon of bright shining light. At number 2, we have Tyrion Lannister. Right below Lady Olenna Tyrell is Tyrion Lannister in my books when it comes to the best quips and the quickest wit. Kind of like Jon Snow, who doesn't love Tyrion? He is smart, he is funny. Again, he is a very good person down to his core. Plus, they bonded over having such horrible relationships with families and being ostracized. Being a small person in the world of King's Landing is not an easy task, and Tyrion had to gain a ton of skill to overcome what many viewed as such a disadvantage. As we saw, especially his own father. So it was wonderful to see Tyrion keep rising and keep rising and keep succeeding and just trucking along. And then to see him get over to Daenerys' side was wonderful. He is smart, he is so funny, and it's always just a joy to have Tyrion around. The biggest problem surrounding the Tyrion character is just that they really stripped him of a lot of his great characteristics. We didn't see a whole lot of him in the middle seasons of the series, which was a huge shame, but they've definitely utilized him more in season 7, which is fantastic. They've let him express that fun wit, and although his plans have not really ironed out since he's been with Daenerys, at all, it's still nice to see him as a valued character here. So before I reveal my number 1 most favorite character on the show of Game of Thrones, there are just so many good ones that I had to mention my list of honorable mentions. Tormund is just a joy, and he has definitely shot up my ranks ever since he met Brienne of Tarth. And this season, he has just been so good. Plus, he's loyal. He's awesome. He's badass. Samwell Tarly is one of the most lovable characters on the show. It's hard not to root for Samwell, and he is so smart. Again, such a kind, gentle soul. I love Samwell. Ned Stark was one of the few purely good people in all of Westeros, and his character on season 1 leaves such a standing monument overshadowing the entire series. Even through to season 7, we haven't seen him in so long, but his presence is still continually felt. And that's because he was such a great character, and if he had been able to live a little bit longer in the series, he almost certainly would have made it onto the top 5 list. But even with just 9 episodes, he's one of the best characters we've seen. Sir Davos is one of those characters I have always really respected. He is also just good to the core. He's a good man. He's noble. But wow, season 7, he has really turned up the heat, and that's what launched him almost into my actual top 5 list. He is so funny, and I am just living for everything he does this season. Noble, smart, and now really funny. Yeah, gotta hand it over to Sir Davos. And just barely missing my top 5 list, I struggled on which one to include here at the end, is Arya Stark. I've always really enjoyed Arya, but I know she's a lot of people's favorite character, or at least top 3 favorite character. She's never been quite that high for me personally, but I am loving Savage Arya. My real love for Arya has begun with the second half of season 6 and through most of season 7. I'm kind of wondering where they're taking her character right now, but in the moment, I love this new Savage Arya. So for number 1, my favorite character in all of Game of Thrones is Daenerys Targaryen. So I know a lot of people have turned on Daenerys over the last season or so, and many others have cooled to her and start thinking she is the new villain of Game of Thrones. But I say, haters gonna hate, because Daenerys is awesome. She has one of the biggest character arcs from season 1 through to season 7 out of anyone in all of the Game of Thrones characters. And if that means she has a little bit of a nastier, darker edge at the moment, so be it. She still has one of the biggest character arcs, from that meek little girl being sold off to these savage people in season 1. And her character is just so relatable in the fact that she was being used, she was being abused, being sold off, she was weak. She had no identity for herself. And just to see her go through all the steps to become this powerful leader that she is right now was really amazing. And that story of being an overcomer, I think, is what endeared so many of us to her to begin with. But then, seeing her go through and free slaves, even when her advisors said, we don't need to go in there and free these slaves, let's just head right on to Westeros. It was no, we do, because they're slaves. Seeing her have to overcome the Dothraki over and over to finally cement their respect and cement their honor was so fantastic to watch. And then, of course, her babies, My babies, my dragon babies. Number 1 kind of is Daenerys and the 3 dragons. Because I love these dragons, and I also have loved seeing them grow from like these tiny little reptiles into these big, magnificent, beautiful dragons. She's the one I have always wanted to see sitting on that Iron Throne and coming out as the ruler of Westeros. And she is still my pick to sit on that Iron Throne, and I'm just hoping nothing goes awry in this last episode of the season, and especially season 8. So those are my 5 favorite characters from Game of Thrones. Make sure that you check out Almost Sideways and David Gerlach's list. They are both going to be sharing theirs today as well. I've left their channel link as well as Zach Pope's channel link down below in the description. So make sure you go give their channel some love and check out their list as well. Also, I want to hear your lists. Do you all watch Game of Thrones? If you do, who are your favorite characters? And what do you think of the 5 characters I just named here? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!